Chapter 9, Time Turner of Events. Potter and crew continued through the snow-filled air of the English countryside. The train eventually pulled into an empty platform 9 3/4. No one was around, however the platform was decked out with wreaths and garland. A simple yet very Christmassy sight. The group made their way through the station and found themselves looking for the passage pillar to get back to London. Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Ginny felt their hands along the walls, while the other three could not help themselves bumping into the walls. They would even play tricks on each other, such as Thomas and Elizabeth egging Don on to crash himself into a wall. "Very funny, you two." Harry then found the corridor and pleaded everyone to come with him. They passed through the doorway into the hustle and bustle of King's Cross Station. Although Thomas, Don, and Elizabeth wanted to see the train station in all its surprisingly Christmas glory, Harry was many steps ahead of them. Hermione, Ginny, and Ron all shrugged their shoulders as they ran after Harry. Bursting through the doors, they all noticed Harry heading in the direction of the Leaky Cauldron.
"You know, as distraught as Harry seemed back at the cemetery, it almost looks like he's enjoying himself now," Elizabeth deduced. The group arrived at the Leaky Cauldron and went inside. However, a small collection of patrons soon surrounded Harry and his fellow alumni. They were giving him remarks of congratulations for defeating Voldemort twice, and wishing them Merry Christmas. Thomas, Don, and Elizabeth decided to go ahead, with the former students giving them the okay. They also tossed them the cloak and the time turner. Thomas and Don wondered what Elizabeth had, and vice versa. They soon made their way to a back room with a brick wall. "Haven't seen this entrance in a long time," said Don. Thomas then took out his wand. "Let's see, if I just tap here, here, and here." The bricks then started to move and turn and revealed the Christmas-decorated street of Diagon Alley. "Say, can we stop at the Weasley store? There's a few more last-minute gifts I have to buy," Don started to say as he went in the opposite direction. "Leave it to you to let your Christmas shopping wait until the last minute,"
Elizabeth said as she dragged Don in the other direction of Borgin and Burke's. The store seemed to be quite abandoned. Elizabeth pushed the door open with a slight squeak.
"Would you boys get a move on?"
"We would, but Don is holding me back." Thomas waved his arm so that Don would release his frankly tight grip. He insisted that it was just the cold, instead of fear. Thomas pulled out the cloak and threw it over the three of them.
"Ah, an invisibility cloak. How timely."
The trio moved throughout the store and soon heard a glass break. They looked at each other and moved quicker through the store until they broke down a door to find Draco collapsed on the floor. "Come on, Elizabeth. Don, help him up to this chair." Thomas whipped off the cloak and went out to the store's floor and grabbed a chair. Don and Elizabeth pulled Draco up from the floor and onto the chair. They looked for something to tie him to the chair, and they scrambled around. Elizabeth then found some unused garland. The boys looked at her like she was nuts, but went along with it. Don walked around the chair, examining Draco. "He seems pretty out of it. You don't think he took the glass we heard and smashed it over his head?"
"No, not that. But how's about we try and wake him up?"
Thomas waved his wand and soon pointed it at the young Malfoy. "Aguamente!" A gush of water flowed out of the wand and right onto Draco's face. He woke up in shock and looked around frantically. "What? What's going on? Who are you? Wait a minute. You're Potter's little pansies again, aren't you? Which one of you hit me?" At this point, Draco's eyes were back to their normal color, and he seemed to be his regular self. Elizabeth, Don, and Thomas looked at each other and questioned which one of them hit him, which was none of them. "Mr. Malfoy, I don't believe you're in any position to ask questions, given the events that just happened here. Let's see here." Thomas started pacing yet again, and by now Elizabeth and Don just stepped out of the way. "You infiltrated Hogwarts as Harry Potter with the assistance of Polyjuice Potion. You then stole our gifts and made us feel like complete fools by thinking Harry had done such a deed. You then charmed Ron and Hermione to kidnap us and used Polyjuice again to make yourself look like Ginny Weasley. You then led us on a chase with the Hogwarts Express to Godric's Hollow, where you stole the gravestone of Harry's parents, all while under the influence of the supposedly dead and forgotten Lord Voldemort." Elizabeth and Don put their hands together and started to applaud Thomas's summing up of what had happened. "You're too late. The gravestone is gone. Next they'll be digging up the bodies, I imagine." "You imagine?" Don questioned. "Yes, are you deaf? Look, Potter was right. He and I seemed to respect each other, knew that our relationship had grown more than just a small school quarrel. That night at Malfoy Mansion, I didn't want to kill him, and at the platform I did acknowledge him. But because of my loyalty to the Dark Lord, something still haunted me. That's when this came back. Draco attempted to roll up his sleeve and show a tattoo of a dark mark fading in and moving ever so slightly.
Draco, are you telling us that the possession thing is true? You had little to no control?
Draco nodded. Elizabeth then backed away and put her arms around Dawn and Thomas. She whispered a plan to them. The two boys looked in confusion, but reluctantly agreed. They all turned around and slowly approached Draco, just to give a bit of a scare.
Mr. Malfoy, you've seemed to connect all the points of this crime to Christmas. Presents, holiday drinks, trains, family. But the holiday and Hogwarts have one additional thing in common. One ghost from one story in particular was known for chains. This one's yours.
Elizabeth pulled the time turner out of her pocket and wrapped the chain around Dawn, Thomas, and Draco. The four of them soon vanished.